You'll tell us, Brazo. How's it, people? Welcome back to Motozar TV, South Africa's leading Formula One fan channel. We're out here at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit for the Festival of Motoring of the year 2023. I'm joined by a very special guest, Chef Wandile Mabaso, who is worldly renowned and trained by Michelin, who are our hosts for this weekend. Welcome to Motozar.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Shout out to you, bro.
There we go.
So, we're very interested to learn how you got to the level that you are at now, because yes, now food, they say, is the new alcohol, which is the next big thing.
I hope so.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
There are a lot of foodies, people who are discovering different cuisines, trying new things from different countries. So just tell us a bit about your journey.
Yeah, so my journey, it's still actually happening. But it's a long one. A long one. I started cooking very early. Probably by 6-7 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up in Soweto.
Okay.
So we used to roam around and get lost and end up catching pigeons. And actually slings, and bry those pigeons. Bry those pigeons and get something to eat. And it slowly started becoming a hobby, and we started making like traps for pigeons, and then catching them in masses, and then feathering them, and then putting them in the deep freezer, and then eventually started cooking.
This is at age 6?
Yeah, like between 7, 8, I think. So it's always been a hobby and something that I liked before I even thought it was a career.
Sheesh.
But fast forward, by 15, I was cooking for family. By 17, after high school, I was cooking professionally.
Wow.
So I was in hotel school and cooking at a chicken joint after school. I used to cook chicken at Nando's while I was in hotel school for extra money. How crazy!
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So you've always had the hunger.
Yes.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. Yeah. No. So yeah, that was the beginning. But 17. And it was professional and a lot of exposure, and eventually I did my internship in Europe.
Okay, where in Europe?
In Italy. So I did a lot of Mediterranean. I worked on a super yacht at a young age.
Where?
And I was doing my internship there, so I got to see the world and experience Europe back in those days when where you knew like 3 people that went overseas.
Fact.
as black people, back then. So it was quite an experience, but came back and used that money that I earned from there,
so you
which
were
was
saving.
Tax-free, and went to culinary school.
Where did you study?
I went to a school called Capsicum Culinary.
Okay, where is it? Here in Joburg?
It's in Joburg. It was in Lone Hill. It moved, I believe, to Rosebank now.
Okay.
And while I was in school, they interviewed a few of us, an agency from the US, and before I finished school, they really snatched me, and I ended up in Palm Beach, in Florida, in the USA.
Miami.
And the rest is history. Yeah, Miami.
Where?
Yeah, literally about 30 minutes from South Beach.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That's amazing.
So I experienced a lot at a young age.
Okay.
And then after that, decided to move to New York City, which was supposed to be for 6 months. It ended up being for 5 years.
Wow. Wow, that's wild, eh?
Yeah, crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my story. And fast forward, spent 2 years in Paris, and then came back to SA in 2018, and a few months after, established my own brand, my own restaurant.
What is the name of your brand?
Wandile Mabaso.
And your restaurant?
Le Créatifs.
La Créatifs, which
means the creatives.
Of course.
There you go.
You can hear that it's something along those lines. Yeah. And where is your restaurant for people who don't know about it?
The restaurant's in Bryanston on Hobart Grove Center.
Okay.
And we've been there for the last 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, and how we opened up was really, a lot of people don't know. It was very humble beginnings. I literally took over an office, turned that office into a restaurant.
Okay.
And started off with one oven, went to 2 ovens, went to 5 employees where I was the PR, the payroll, the chef, and then moved into...
I wish we could hear what you're saying.
And then
we were talking about this earlier. Yeah.
You know, proper entrepreneurship. And eventually 10 employees, we had 2 ovens, fridges. We got to a point where we renovated the whole space. And now we're sitting at probably top 3, top 5 restaurants in the country, and probably top 3 chefs in the country, which is myself, sitting at over 25 employees.
Wow.
Where we've developed...
Feeding 25 families.
Yeah. We've developed
you,
at least 70% of them from being a cleaner to a junior manager, being a dishwasher to an executive sous chef.
Sheesh.
And this speaks to my ethos about skills development and opportunities, because I think mentorship is something that doesn't exist in the country.
Facts.
And my background is from mentorship. I was mentored by French chefs.
Okay.
All the way from New York City to Paris.
Okay.
And I think that's why I've gotten to the level where I got to, because of mentorship. So I take it very serious.
Shout out to you, bro. Okay, looks like we have 2 minutes left, but I'm loving this story.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you, what's your favorite dish? Your own.
I don't have a favorite dish. I think if I were to say what's my favorite dish, I'll probably say the next new dish. I think we've created over 500 dishes in the last 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't even write them down. It's literally
all in the head.
It's all in the head. And,
off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Yeah.
You know, but I would say, you know, beautiful baked baguette and beautiful salted butter from Normandy.
Away.
Simple as that.
Away. Shout out to you, bro.
Simple as that.
Okay. And off camera, you were chatting to me about how you had a Formula One experience in 2008.
Yes, by default. I had a Formula One experience by default.
Okay.
So when I was doing my internship from hotel school, I was on a super yacht. And we were traveling the Mediterranean, and we traveled from Saint-Tropez, we went up to Monte Carlo in Monaco.
Ooh.
And I didn't even know what was happening.
The playground of the wealthy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And I saw it firsthand.
And whose garage were you at?
Kimi Räikkönen. That's
and
it.
he was world champion at that point.
Yes, and I took a picture there.
Oh, yeah?
Right in his garage.
Oh, yeah?
And we landed there in a boat, so I got to see all the yachts before I went there. So I got to see Mel Gibson's yachts, the Prince of this yachts. And then because the city is on lockdown.
Albert of Monaco?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the city is on lockdown because of the Grand Prix, and I didn't know that.
Okay.
But when I got there, we entered by port, so we were allowed in.
Anyway.
And then I was stuck. I was stuck in the middle of the F1. How crazy! For the whole day.
I wish we had teleported
and I got
that
pictures
day.
to prove it. I'll send you those pictures.
The receipts, blood.
Yeah.
Okay, and then tell me about your journey with Michelin.
Oh wow! So when I came back in 2018, I partnered up with Michelin. We did a few things together, but it was difficult because I had to get my brand up and everything.
Yes.
But they were very supportive in a lot of things that I wanted to do, and that's why I'm still here with them, because I appreciate that support.
100%.
In the country, I mean, there's a bad habit of big brands wanting to get involved with smaller brands only when they're relevant, but not seeing the potential.
Yes, yes.
So they like finished products. And what I like about Michelin SA is that they supported me from day one.
Wow.
When I had nothing, and they still support me today.
Okay.
But besides that, with Michelin on a global scale, especially with the Michelin guide now off the product of tires. Just the Michelin guide and the food.
Okay.
There goes your Michelin tires. But the Michelin
Shout out to Michelin.
the Michelin guide. I worked in Michelin restaurants in New York City.
Okay.
I worked in Michelin 2-star, 3-star Michelin restaurants in France, in Paris.
Ah, where?
And actually, my second mentor and chef in Paris, Alain Ducasse, is actually the one living chef who owns the most Michelin stars in the world, in history. He's got 23 Michelin stars altogether. He's the only chef that's alive that owns the most Michelin stars. That's my mentor.
Restaurants are called Michelin stars.
No, he's got restaurants all across the globe.
Okay.
So all of those restaurants have at least got 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. If you add them all together, grading. If you add them all together, it's 23 Michelin stars.
Really?
So that's almost like if you're an actor, that's 23 Oscars. If you're a musician, that's 23 Grammys. If you're a racer, that's 23 championships.
No, I feel
That's
you.
it, yeah.
So Chef Wandile, he's actually been cooking for us all weekend. We were obviously here for the media day on Thursday as guests of Michelin. And the day before that, he was cooking for world leaders. Maybe before we go, because we're almost out of time, let's touch on that.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
But you're still looking fresh. Yeah?
I look fresh on the outside.
Inside you're dying blood.
I'm crying. All
right.
No, it's been a long journey. I mean, luckily, I was fortunate enough for the president to put me in charge of what the presidents eat while they're here.
And this is in the
BRICS summits. The presidents and the supporting
That's
staff
huge,
and the ministers. It's huge, but yes, a lot of pressure as well. A lot of pressure.
But you look like you thrive under pressure. I mean,
I hope so. But a lot of pressure. But everything was successful. The presidents are happy. I was fortunate enough to meet, Xi Jinping, the president of Brazil, who's a big foodie. We spoke about food and restaurants in Sao Paulo. We spoke about the Amazon ingredients. And the Indian Prime Minister, is a big foodie. Even the president himself is a big foodie, which I appreciate. And that's why he wanted to be so involved. He wants to know which wine, which meat, which ingredient, which I appreciate. So it was a great experience, great exposure, but a lot of pressure.
Well, me personally, of all the food that I've had, I really enjoyed the duck. Like, it stood out for me. She loved the lionfish.
Today is the duck number 1 today.
Wow. Duck is killing it. Shout out to you. We are well fed. We're happy. And we have to end this interview now. Come closer. Come.
Wow.
She's your fan, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Her 5 minutes of fame, people.
That's wild.
How do you know about the Springbok? Let's start there.
So firstly, we were talking about how cool and calm you are, like when you just generally, throughout the day. And you said you didn't look into the camera. Even when you were speaking to the president, you were just calm.
Yeah.
I know this nigga, he's my guy.
I wish.
So, yeah.
I wish.
So part of that recording was you were like, the Springbok is coming, You said it like it's just
no, because we had a tasting with him at our restaurant.
Oh, okay.
In Bryanston, and he's a farmer. He owns a farm. Let me put it like that.
Yeah.
So he knows a lot about wild animals and venison. The best meats. He knows a lot. He knows better than me.
Okay.
And
did you guys have a chance to?
Yeah, we did. Okay. So I served them a kudu, which I usually use, because a kudu is big. So when you serve, the only soft part is the fillet.
Okay.
right? And the fillet, you get a strip on each side. And he tasted it and he told me that it's a bit chewy. So he said try something like an impala or better a springbok. It's very soft.
Okay.
So I had to go through hoops to find a springbok. Eventually I found one from the Kalahari.
I love it.
And when I tasted it the first time, I was like, shit, this guy is so right.
Is it? Weren't you like worried?
I was like,
that
this
you,
guy
like,
is
might
right.
Mess it up a bit.
No. I was like, this guy was right.
Is
Like,
it?
it's almost like you're biting into a potato, like a baked potato. That's
Okay,
how
so if
soft it is.
So if I come to your restaurant,
No, now the springbok is on my menu.
please.
The springbok,
also-
I'll call it Ramaphosa springbok.
Are you gonna ask to use the name?
No, I'm not really gonna call it that. I'll just tell people it's inspired by Ramaphosa.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Great. So wait, I had one more question. So your restaurant,
Yes.
how do you pronounce it? So this is how I pronounce it. Le Créatif. Am I right?
Almost. Le Créatifs.
Le Créatif.
Yeah.
Great.
It means the creatives. That's it.
Oh, I love
And me using the French doesn't mean it's a French restaurant. We don't serve frog legs or anything like that.
Okay.
You know, but it's really paying homage to my background, which is French cooking. I was classically trained in French cuisine,
Yeah.
and also the great French chefs that mentored me and gave me opportunities, and where I come from, which is in terms of food, which is in France. So it's really paying homage to that, but it's an all creative restaurant. Creativity everywhere, in the food, in the decor, in the plates, and in the ingredients. But it's really a fusion of my culture and my experiences all across the globe, really.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are we looking to opening another restaurant in SA, maybe a different location?
Maybe. Or moving the one that I have to another location, maybe.
Is it okay?
I don't want to reveal too much,
Too
but
much.
there's a lot of new things coming,
I love
which
that.
we're all excited for.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to visiting your restaurant. And when I'm there, can I request for you?
Listen, request for me before you get there.
Okay.
I'll make
I
sure you're
will
well
do.
taken care of.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
I'm a big fan, like you said. Like I was just telling them earlier, like I'm just like, this guy like hosted Deborah Cox, and then Sholo is
Deborah
like,
Cox,
who's
yeah.
Deborah Cox? I'm just like, you are young, bro, you young. Kelly Rowland as well.
Yeah.
how was that?
Kelly Rowland, and we also got an opportunity to cook for Beyonce as well.
Oh,
But this was back in Paris,
Oh, nice.
and Jay-Z, because the place where I used to work in, which is a 2 Michelin star restaurant, that's the only place they stay in when they are in Paris.
Is it?
So I was really fortunate.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Just giving
But
them
I'm
the
not.
Wandile Mabaso experience.
Well, that time it was the restaurant's experience where I worked.
Okay.
You know, my experience started developing when I came back home. Really,
Okay.
my brand and my point of view and my vision started developing when I came back.
Amazing stuff. Oh my gosh, I love your personality as well.
Thank you.
Shout out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We good? Oh, now they're done with us.
He's already on Instagram.
Listen. I hope he is. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah.
Can I take snaps before you
Yeah, you
cross?
can.
Can I please just take a few snaps before you? You can put it on the table.
Oh, is it? Okay. It will be, or is it still recording?
But let me take snaps. Okay, before you go, let me do some pictures. Come.